Hello and welcome to the Film Pulse Podcast. This is episode number 461. My name's Adam Patterson. With me today we got Kevin Rakestraw. Hey, Kevin.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, it's going pretty well. Keeping busy, you know.
Nice.
This week on the show, we're going to be talking about Barbarian, which came out a while back in theaters, but now it's on HBO Max. So if you have a HBO Max subscription, you can check it out. It's written and directed by Zach Cregger. I think that we could just hop right into our review. The new Saved by the 90s should be out as of this recording. So as you're listening to this, it should have dropped yesterday. I'm going to try to release it on Halloween. So enjoy that. Again, we talk about Stephen King movies. Barbarian, like I said, this is written and directed by Zach Cregger. Now, if you're not familiar with Zach Cregger, because I feel like he kind of faded away for a little bit, like he kind of went away a little bit, but he was part of The Whitest Kids You Know. He was one of the kids.
For real?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yep, he was one of the whitest kids you know. So it's kind of an interesting turn, I guess, for him. He hasn't really done any kind of, as far as I can tell, this is like the first horror thing that he's done. Previously, he directed Miss March, which was basically just like a Whitest Kids You Know movie. So yeah, it's kind of interesting that he put this movie out. I have a synopsis here. A woman staying at an Airbnb discovers that the house she has rented is not what it seems. Now, I went into this movie almost completely cold. I think that I saw maybe one trailer. The trailers for this movie did a really good job of not really giving you really any information. So the way that the trailers for this were set up, if I remember correctly, it was like almost like a clip rather than a trailer, where it just gave us the setup where it's exactly what I just read in the synopsis, where there's this woman and she goes to this Airbnb, but it turns out that it was double booked through two different services, rental services, and everything seems fine at first, but things begin to get horrific. Anyway, I was really surprised with this movie. I was kind of excited for it because I did read a little bit of hype. I did see it getting hyped up a little bit. And I can't remember. I think this played Sundance. It played at least one festival. I think it was Sundance. And it was getting a lot of praise out of that. And then when it hit theaters over the summer, a lot of people were talking about it. So I was kind of excited, but I went in kind of with no major expectations other than like just really kind of eager for a decent horror movie, because I feel like we haven't, we were let down with Hellraiser. We were absolutely let down with Halloween Ends. So I was kind of like really yearning for a new horror movie. And this one thankfully delivered on exactly what I was looking for. In fact, more so. This is a movie that I could probably see myself rewatching at some point because I enjoyed it so much. Kevin, what were your initial impressions of Barbarian?
I'm pretty much the same as you, where I really didn't know anything about this. Right? I knew it was an Airbnb. That's essentially all I knew outside of the praise that I was seeing on the internet, which for a short period of time, right before I started, really like right before I pressed play on this bad boy, I was like, oh shit, Kevin, you fucking set yourself up again to be sorely disappointed. Like, why? And I know this happens all the time to me. I'll see like numerous people on the internet hyping up a movie, being super excited, maybe even saying things like, oh, this is totally fresh and inventive, that kind of thing. And, I'll naturally just get excitement. It'll build up, and I'm like, oh man, I can't wait until this comes. I got so excited that it was coming to HBO Max. It's like, oh man, But there was that part of me that right before I press play that I'm just like, I've been down this road so many times.
And
Why am I doing this
and you'll be down it again in the future, no
I
doubt.
know. And I'm like, why am I doing this to myself? I'm like, so there was like, as soon as I press play, there was that part of me that tried to like just abort the excitement where I was just like, you know what? This is going to suck. I can feel it. This is what always happens to me. This movie's not going to be great. Whatever. Right. But I was much in the same boat as you, where not only did it deliver, it far exceeded my expectations, even the ones that I tried to abort out of. It delivered. I mean, I do think that it is for the most part pretty inventive, especially like the structure of it in terms of narratively,
Yeah.
because it takes some wild whiplash turns here.
Yeah, we can start by talking about that because that's definitely one of the highlights for me too. It is constantly it's not really subverting your expectations necessarily because you don't know where it's going to go. So it's hard to even like have expectations to begin with because it kind of tells like three different stories in a way. And
Yeah.
it like all of a sudden it just deviates completely. It's like an hour in too. It completely changes gears and goes into a completely different narrative, completely different characters. And then it does it again through a flashback later on. And I really liked that. I really didn't know how to like what was going on, how like any of this was connected. And then of course you find out pretty quickly, but yeah, the way that they did the kind of nonlinear storytelling in this, I really appreciated that. And I think that it somehow just added to the creepiness of the whole thing. I think that by introducing Justin Long's character and dedicating an ample amount of time to developing his character before putting him in that situation, I think that added a lot to the overall just feeling of the whole story and the themes that are kind of prevalent throughout the whole thing. So I think it was a really smart idea to do that. It's not something you typically see. You know, like a lot of movies would probably just introduce that character without the extended like preamble. But I think that the way that this played out, I think it benefited a lot from it.
Yeah, I mean it works really well because essentially what he does here is he creates a like mid-movie cliffhanger that he breaks off from. So you're already, because you just got introduced to something and you're like, okay, well, I just got the information for. I need to get back to that information. And now you're giving me a new character and you're just like, okay, well, I want to see how this character somehow gets us back to the information that I was just introduced through, that you tore me from, to straight to Blinding Light, Justin Long, singing Rikki Tikki Tavi. The mongoose.
Yeah. I love how happy he was at the beginning of that and then so quickly turned into rage.
And and I gotta say, his character was, there were some things that were surprising, especially like down the road, that I was just like, wow, I don't know if I've seen that a ton in horror movies. Just some of the decisions that he makes.
Yeah.
Specifically one where I'm just like, I don't know if that. To me, it just doesn't seem like that's that prevalent in horror movies. Which I think that long preamble, like you were talking about, really, it added that. Because you really, you got that little bit of sequence beforehand where you're like, oh, okay, so he's trying to change.
He's trying to make amends, but
yeah, and it just, it's one of those fucking assholes where it's like, oh, it took this situation for you to finally see that maybe you're not a good person, but
maybe he's the barbarian, right?
Well, yeah, I mean because the quote unquote bad person in this isn't really that bad, like they didn't really do anything.
Well, eh, eh, without giving too much away, there were some things done, some
Yeah,
horrific things done.
yeah, but if you're this person, I mean, I'm pretty sure that this person does not know anything about like societal expectations or how people should act. So it's not like, you know what I mean? I can't really like play blame. It's just kind of like stay away. Probably the good idea.
I was getting really strong people under the stairs vibes from this movie. And I look at that as a good thing. Like there is definitely, I mean, I feel like I feel like he had to be, Zach Krieger had to be influenced by Wes Craven with this movie. Just like how, you know, you have these themes of it takes place in Detroit in a neighborhood that is basically, I don't even know what you would call it, abandoned, falling apart, you know, and you have this really great flashback towards the end of the movie of what that neighborhood looked like in the 80s. And so you can definitely draw some kind of like, you know, social messaging from this movie. And I think that all of it is done really interestingly. And I think that was very effective as well.
That was the only thing that didn't work for me. Because I thought it was just kind of like, it's introduced in just a very like quick, undeveloped, you know, just like, hey, this movie's kind of smart. We're also about something else, like socio-political. But it's just a guy being like, oh, the neighborhood's going to hell. Someone says Reagan. And that's it. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, okay. Like
fucking Reagan.
just like, oh, a suggestion, right? You know, Reagan, 80s. And the decay now. You see it?
Yeah, I think
like, that was like, and it's not like a huge knock against it. I'm just like, you probably could have done a little bit more there. But
yeah, I mean, I think that whatever. Like looking at comparing this to something like Candyman or People Under the Stairs, I think that those other two movies handled that a little bit more tactfully, I guess.
Yeah,
and a little more nuanced.
And I think there's a difference because those filmmakers were in that time, they were living through that time.
Right, yeah.
Where here at Zach Krieger, I think just like maybe heard about it. And he's just like, oh yeah. All right, I'll throw that in there.
He watched Candyman and People Under the Stairs, and then he watched RoboCop.
Yeah, and he probably heard like a podcast about like white flight. And he's like, yeah, I'll string that in there.
Well, I still liked it. I liked the kind of undertones, where I guess maybe overtones with it.
The thing that I liked most about that, because I could have done without the flashback, but I also appreciated the flashback because it was at least done in a way where you got a completely new aesthetic, which I think is a nice choice. Where the movie looks completely different than the rest of the movie. Yeah.
So the cinematography is done by Zach Cooperstein, and he's done. I mean, I think that he's done some really great work in the past. He did The Eyes of My Mother, which had incredible cinematography. He did The Vigil. He did a lot of movies that I mean, I just think he's a really, really skilled DP, and this movie looks awesome. I think that they do a lot of really cool, like fisheye type stuff, and I really enjoyed all the cinematography with it. It felt very like kind of twisted, and the use of lighting was quite good, especially anything involving like the basement and how those shots were framed and stuff. I liked all of that.
Oh, the one thing that I will, because I think we talked about this before. This is not necessarily attributed to the movie, but it was something that I found out because I watched this on the HBO Max app. on PlayStation, right? And I think I talked about a movie, a couple weeks ago, whatever, where it was like the frame rate got weird.
Yeah.
It seemed like it was less frames than it should be.
Yes.
Well, the same thing happened with this movie. It was about 45 minutes into it. Like the frame rate got weird and everything just looked off. But when this happens, the interesting thing is like the audio's not messed up at all. Like the mouth and the words still line up and everything. So looking into it a bit more, it seems like it is an HBO Max issue on the PlayStation where it's just like if you go past a certain time, like say like half an hour or 40 minutes, like the frame rate just drops.
Huh.
And like it's so weird because it's really fucking annoying because it's like gradual and you're just like, wait, the movie kind of looks different. But then it's still fucking with you because like the audio and everything's completely fine.
Yeah, that's weird.
So if you watched it or if you plan on watching it on your PlayStation through the HBO app and the frame rate gets weird, it's not supposed to be that way. Just a heads up.
It's actually really, I think it's a really good looking movie. I liked the cinematography quite a bit. Kate Bosworth's in this? I don't even remember seeing her.
Yeah, I saw that before we started recording. I don't remember, unless she was just a voice.
She plays Melissa.
Which, was that like the phone call at the beginning?
Who was the... No. It's definitely not... I have no idea. That's very... And Sarah Paxton... I don't remember her. Huh. Anyway. Yeah, I thought that the makeup effects were quite good, like all of the prosthetics. I really like Georgina Campbell's character as Tess. She's essentially the protagonist of the film. And not only was she just a strong lead, but she did things in a smart way. Like she was a smart, logical person.
Now let's say most of the time she did do some really stupid fucking stuff.
Well, there were, especially towards the end, like she's a good person, and even when there's too much there, I don't want to give that away. There's certain points where she is more selfless than she probably should be, but a lot of the decisions that she makes, I think, are smart. Like, and this is like I think it was in the first trailer when you first see the situation and you're introduced to her and along with Bill Skarsgård as Keith, and it just the kind of funny thing is like this whole situation in general, everything feels off right from the get-go, even though it probably shouldn't be. Like everything just feels so weird. But then she, is doing her due diligence. She's asking to see like his email confirmation for the house and getting it. As she sees his ID, takes a picture of it, locks all the doors behind her and stuff because this is a stranger, and she doesn't know this guy. Now eventually they do get to know each other, but there's a couple other things that she does that I think are pretty smart. Like the whole mirror thing that she does. Like there's a point where there's like a hallway, she can't see down it, and she uses a mirror to reflect the light down a hallway so she can see. So there's just a lot of stuff that she does, and I liked her as a character. She's a very likable, endearing character.
Yeah, I think that some of those things I think are dumb decisions. Like the mirror thing. Yeah, I don't need to see more of that. I don't need to investigate that.
Well,
are you going to investigate that? Come on.
There was she was trying to save somebody was in peril, and she was
before that. No, she did that before, didn't she? She set that whole thing up before. What's his name?
Oh yeah, well she was locked in down there, right? Isn't that that's when she was locked in?
Yeah, but you open that door and then you shut that door.
Well, maybe she thought it was a way out. I don't know. You open that door, you see the dark hallway, and you say, "Okay."
No, nope. You see stairs going down further in a basement, that's a no-go. That's a nope.
That is a no, sir.
Go so far under a house. I'm sorry. You go one floor lower than a house. No further.
Yeah, if there's like basements underneath the basement that clearly look man-made,
yeah,
that's a bad sign.
And I tell you right now, if a basement's not finished, I ain't investigating shit down there.
No, unfinished basements.
No,
they're inherently terrifying.
Yeah, you couldn't even get me to check in the corner. Like if the fuse box is in the corner, I'm not going to the fuse box. It's an Airbnb. I don't care. I'm leaving. It's daylight out. I'm leaving.
One of the houses that I lived in when I was young it was a mostly unfinished basement in it, and it was so creepy down there. This was when I lived on Main Street in Dallastown.
Yeah, a basement with dirt.
Mm-hmm.
That's fucked up. That's just inherently fucked up.
You're just in a grave.
Immediately tells me ghosts.
Yeah,
it's good. Yeah, yeah. Essentially, he just needs a little more work, and it's a grave. Fuck that.
I guess that's a good segue into the tone of this movie and how to me, this was a very unsettling film. Like it's very tense, and it's rare that a horror movie affects me in any kind of meaningful way these days. But this one definitely had me kind of feeling nervous. Like this one got under my skin, and I loved it.
Yeah.
That it did that.
I'm right there with you. This is because I think I've mentioned this numerous times where I'm at the point now in my life where, especially when it comes to horror movies, I just want to be surprised. I want to not be able to see where you're going with it. And this definitely delivered on that. And then on top of it was good, which is just like an added bonus. It's just like, oh wow, you're good too? Cool. That's nice. Thank you.
I'm reminded of Malignant, the James Wan film, and how that one was that reveal was such a surprise.
Yeah, I'm hoping for more of just kind of the old school embracing wackiness.
That's what I'm hoping for, man. Like this movie to me felt like such a throwback in a lot of ways, which is weird to say, but it almost felt like a 90s horror movie because it did embrace the insanity of it all.
Yeah.
And it gets bonkers. I mean, this movie gets nuts at the end.
Yeah, it sure does. And it does a good example of like the throwback to me, something that I know is stupid, I know is corny as hell, but I also fucking love it, is when the guy's like, yeah, I've been here 15 years and you know what it's setting up for. But at the same time, I'm sitting there with a smile on my face like, yeah, fucking do it.
that scene was so great too.
Do it.
Yeah. Yeah, this movie definitely
committed to it.
It definitely gets bonkers. This is a movie that I think you should go into completely cold. Don't watch anything. Just go into it blind, and I think you'll come away from it just being really impressed.
I do. I 100% agree with you, but I also find it that it's kind of funny that we'll say that after talking about it for 40 some minutes.
Yeah, I know.
Well, we told you everything. But do it.
No, I think that there was a lot of. I mean, you could still go in and get a lot out of it. I think that we were pretty vague about specific plot details and stuff.
I mean, I think we did ruin the Justin Long, Ricky Tikki Tavi, which is unfortunate.
I mean, that is a bit of a spoiler. Is the Justin Long Ricky Tikki Tavi scene. All right, so let's go ahead and give Barbarian a score. Kevin, what are you going to give it out of 10?
I'm thinking like a 7.5, 8, maybe.
Yep, that's where I am. I'm at an 8 on this one because, I just had a blast. Had a blast with it.
And also, I don't know if this makes me a bad person. Bill Skarsgård's character, Keith, I would have left him. I would have left his ass. He's a grown man. That's a stupid decision he made. Fuck him.
I was thinking about that a lot. during this movie, and I gotta say, like, I probably they don't know each other. That's the thing. Like, they barely know each other.
Exactly. Fuck that. You open up a door and you see that, and you're like, oh, let me go down here. All right, bye.
Yeah.
Best of luck to you.
All right, so that is Barbarian. Highly recommend that one. It's on HBO Max. Definitely one of the best horror movies of the year, in my opinion. Moving on from that into our watch list, I saw one of the worst horror movies of the year this week.
Ooh.
And that's Slayers by K. Asher Levin. This is the one about, it's like a vampire hunter. Thomas Jane plays a vampire hunter. It is excruciatingly bad. I do have to admit, full disclosure, I did not finish this movie. I actually turned it off because I was hating it so much that I felt like, I'll waste my time watching movies. Movies I don't even like. 9 times out of 10, if it's a movie I don't like, I'll still stick it out to the end. This one, I just couldn't do, man. It is so horrific. Like, unbelievably cringe-inducingly atrocious. Like, I don't even understand how the people who are in this movie, like, the decisions they made. Like, I could only assume that, like, on paper, this movie sounded better than the way it turned out. So in addition to Thomas Jane, you have Abigail Breslin and Malin Ackerman in here. The whole premise is stupid. It's about, like, this old vampire couple, and they, like, have this goal to, like, in order to live forever, they have to transfer their souls into, like, younger people. So they target these, like, super famous influencers. So they invite a group of, like, social media influencers out to their mansion. And it's just, the only thing worse than, like, these fake ass annoying social media influencer famous people are fake versions of those people. Because it's clear that K. Asher Levin doesn't really have any kind of, like, firsthand knowledge of the influencer world and, like, how that all functions. It's like he watched some other show that was, like, poking fun or parodying those people in that world, and then, like, did that even more, like, did a spoof of a spoof. And that's what you have here. And you have, like, these fake overlays and stuff. Like, every time a human or a vampire gets killed, it's like a video game overlay that comes up for no reason. Like, there's no reason for it. Okay, yeah, I guess one of the characters is, like, a professional video gamer. I was doing air quotes there. And so you have, like, these video game sounds and stuff. It's so bad. So horrible. I can't warn you enough to stay away from Slayers.
Sold. I'm going to watch Slayers.
Trust
All
me.
you did is make me want to watch it more.
Trust me.
No,
It's not even fucking, like, there's tons of movies that are, like, bad, but in a fun way. I'll probably be talking about one of those later. This is not that. It is just nonstop cringe.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not even cool. It's called Slayers, and there's no cool, like, vampire slaying. Thomas Jane is apparently this, like, badass vampire hunter, but he barely does anything. All he does is he has this tiny little crossbow. It's like a Fisher Price crossbow, and he kills some vampires. And it's just, oh god, it's so frustrating, dude. And, like, Abigail Breslin is on the front here. Like, she's, like, the main character, but she's not at all.
Yeah. Yeah. This is my time to say Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Watch that. Because that's actually fun and cool at the same time.
Yeah. Jesus.
Well, guess what? I watched Trancers.
Trancers?
1984 Trancers. The first thing that surprised me about this movie is it's 77 minutes. All right, that's kind of wild. That's the kind of territory where I'm into, especially with it being like a sci-fi film, where I'm just like, well, surely that's not long enough. You got to build a world. Like building a world alone takes like 40 minutes. Like 77 minutes, I don't think it's going to be enough time to do everything that you need to do, and it's not. That's the number one issue with Trancers. Trancers could be longer because it's got some great ideas. It's got a great world. There's cool stuff going on, and I needed more than 77 minutes of it, which all in all is a pretty good, complaint to have against a film, especially something like Trancers from 1984 with Officer Jack Death. Great name. Hunts Trancers. There's this guy Whistler. He's his arch enemy. Whistler turns people into like zombies, puts them in a trance. That's why they're called Trancers. And then Jack Death just kills them. But it seems like Whistler can do this at any time from anywhere. He can just make someone a trancer. So that seems like that happens all the time. Like Jack Death is like looking for people, and they're never trancers until Whistler's like, oh, well, I'm going to turn this one into a trancer because he's right by him, and maybe I can kill him. And then Jack Death is like, oh shit, trancer, because he's trying to kill him now. And he ends up killing. So he's not really like, he can't really do his job. He just has to exist, and the trancers will come to him because Whistler wants him dead, But the thing is, he's it's 2247 is the future date. He gets sent back to 1985, Los Angeles. So it's a fish out of water type thing. Ends up with Helen Hunt, and he's trying to find Whistler because the ancestors of the council or something, some government type thing, their ancestors are getting killed in 1985, so they're disappearing from the future. So he has to get back there and save them, and it's something. It is something. It is a good time, and it's got some really cool. One of the things, because it's got some cool effects, but the best one that it has is, of course, it has kind of like a James Bond, like, hey, we're sending you back to the future. Here's some cool tools that you can use. And one of them's a watch that gives him, it's like bullet time. He can hit the watch and 1 second gets dragged out for, I forget how long. And he can do all this stuff while everyone's frozen in time, which he uses a couple of times. And it's pretty cool the way that they do it. It looks great.
Nice. Yeah, I never saw this, but I've always kind of been eyeing it up. Trancers.
Check it out. Tubi.
Directed by the prolific Charles Band.
It's got Tim Thomerson.
Cool. I saw Amityville 1992. It's About Time. Now, I don't know why. I just assumed that these Amityville sequels were just trash. Like the Poltergeist sequels or, whatever. And boy, I was wrong, because I really liked Amityville Dollhouse. And this is part of, I guess they call it the Cursed trilogy or something. There's a recent box set that Vinegar Syndrome put out with these 90s Amityville movies. And I'm not sure if it was just three of them or if it was all of them or what. But anyway, this one, it's directed by Tony Randall, and you have this he's like an architect, and he comes back from this job where they're working on this development, and turns out that it was the original Amityville house where the murders took place, and the original film. There was a clock that the guy took, and he set up the clock in his home, and it turns out this clock, of course, is haunted, but it's so weird what it does. It's similar to Amityville Dollhouse, where it doesn't really make any sense at all, but you just roll with it. So right off the bat, the guy puts the clock up, and he goes out for a jog the next morning, and he gets brutally attacked by a dog, viciously attacked, and his leg is it's so messed up. And he he goes to the hospital and the doctor's like, hey, he'll be all right. Just got to clean the dressing. And the next scene they show the wound, and it like is this giant open gaping wound, and it's like no stitches, no nothing. All right, okay, all right. But I guess what happens is after he gets attacked by this dog, he like turns evil. The clock like possesses him, and then the clock possesses his daughter as well, and turns her into a little bit of a floozy, if I'm going to be honest. And then so it's up to the guy's ex-girlfriend and his son to figure out what's going on and stop this from happening. And it's really just an excuse to have these kind of like wacky set pieces, and it is a ton of fun. It's like sleazy and gross. There's like these like kind of, these like kind of early 90s like, society like style scenes where it's like everything's like gooey and they're using like lots of latex makeup and stuff. Felt more like a Hellraiser movie than an Amityville horror movie, like, because it wasn't really like ghosts or anything. It was just like crazy wild stuff happening to these people, and it was a blast. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, I think I might have to check these out. I'm gonna have to remember these for next year.
Yeah, they're on Shudder, so you can check them out there. And I think, are they on Tubi as well? Yeah, they're on Tubi as well.
Oh, you fucking know they're on Tubi, buddy. Are you kidding me?
There's as a side note, there's a spider on my ceiling, and it's crawling ever so slightly towards me. Like every couple minutes, it's like inching its way towards me. It's not a huge spider, but it's like big enough that I'm concerned.
Gotcha.
So
keep us updated.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens here. If you didn't make it, well, I guess this episode would never come out then.
No, it wouldn't. It'd get lost in the ether.
I watched the absolute classic, 1968's Night of the Living Dead.
Oh,
Finally got around to watching this one.
This first time watch, huh?
This is the first time watch. I never checked this out because I'm not a huge zombie guy. I don't know. Like I'm never like super into watching a zombie movie, and especially with this being like one of the first ones.
It's really the one that kind of defined the genre.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, like I've seen stills from it and stuff, and I'm surely it's just going to be tame as hell. It's just going to be a bunch of people bumbling around because there's really no standard for zombie behavior. So it's just going to be a bunch of extras walking slow and going, "Bruh," which is kind of fun. But it was really interesting, to finally see Dwayne Jones in probably the thing that made him. Because to me, it's just, Ganja and Hess and losing ground. But I finally got to see him in Night of the Living Dead. And I got to say, I was kind of surprised by where this ended up going. The ending of this is really fucking
the ending
fucked up.
Yeah, specifically the ending.
Yeah, and just the way that it's like it's these two narratives kind of like slowly coming together, like their trajectories just slowly as the movie goes on, that they're going to come together at some point. And then the way in which it does is just extremely bleak, but also completely understandable because, that totally makes sense. But there's an added aspect of this of them watching the news bulletins, where it's dumps where they're learning everything about like what's going on in this crisis and everything that they're finding out in real time and delivering across the television set. It's Pennsylvania. So at the bottom they're like, oh, here's our ticker. If you're in this area, this is where you're supposed to go. So there was this mini game within the movie of me being like, man, I can't wait till they show York. I want to know where you have to go in York County to get away from the zombies. But York and Lancaster never showed up.
Yeah.
They had other ones, but it was never those two. And I just really wanted to know what they picked. Like, where did you have to go?
York
Was it
Fairgrounds.
Boscov's? The York Fairgrounds? Boscov's? What was it?
I bet it was the fairgrounds.
I don't know. Fairgrounds seems tricky though. Seems like you have yourself open, but then again, you do have the buildings and stuff.
And it's
I don't
gated
know.
too. There's a fence around it.
That's true. That's true.
I love Night of the Living Dead. I think that it's like one of those movies where you think that because it's like old and it's not going to really live
No,
up
they
to much, but
man.
I think it's quite good.
Oh, there's some stuff in there. It's about like when they started eating, well, they actually show them eating it because there was a part of me that was like, oh, they're not going to show them like actually eating
Yeah, this
people.
movie
They
was
talk
like
about it.
this
Yeah,
movie was pretty wild for the time. Because not only do they show them eating people, but they're like a lot of them were nude too.
yeah. It was,
That just wasn't something you saw a lot in 1968.
but also I mean, the overall best thing I think is the cinematography in this is just
Oh man, it looks
it's so
so
it's
good.
so great.
Yeah, especially like the newer versions of it that they like restored and cleaned up and made look really good.
Yeah, because this I was the on Criterion channel,
Yeah,
but yeah, this is on essentially on every single
it's public
platform.
domain, so
Oh, there
there's
you
no
go.
copyright on it, so anybody can show it anywhere, which sucks. Famously, George Romero never made any money from Night of the Living Dead because of the copyrights issue that happened through a series of blunders.
Mm,
It entered the public domain.
unbelievable.
The last one that I saw was Amityville: A New Generation. This is the one that came out after Amityville: It's About Time. This one's directed by John Merlowski. This one's pretty fun too, I gotta say. I was expecting this one to just fall off because I'm like, okay, well, I liked Dollhouse. I really liked It's About Time. Surely the rest of them have to be garbage. But no, this one is a lot of fun too. I found myself really having a good time with this one. This one is about it stars Ross Partridge as a guy named Keys, and he is an artist living in this like studio space with a bunch of other artists, and he ends up he's a photographer, and he ends up taking pictures of this homeless man, and the homeless man gives him a mirror, and it turns out that mirror was from the Amityville house. And there's actually even a larger connection in this one where the guy who gave him the mirror was actually the killer from the original murders that took place in the house. And so this mirror, like the dollhouse and the clock, just it kind of like infects or possesses people and just makes them do things like kill themselves, kill other people, go crazy, et cetera, et cetera. So it's kind of the same thing. But this one, it's just in a studio space with like an art collective. So it's pretty wacky. There's some really goofy stuff that happens, but yeah, overall, pretty good time. And this one is also on Shudder and Tubi, and looks like it's on Plex too.
Watch out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited to. I think I'm totally gonna do this next year. Get into the Amityville like 80 to 90s, like that stretch of them. I don't think I ever realized that there was that many.
Well, I knew I had a box set. I had an Amityville box set back in the day, and it was it was like the original ones. And like those, like the first one is, I don't even really like the first one that much, honestly. But like the other sequels were just like kind of boring and just kind of samey. Like Amityville 2, The Possession. Like, but these 90s ones, they're only very loosely connected to the Amityville story. But they're mostly just like, I'm also kind of wondering if the scripts for these movies were originally something else and they wanted to, pull them into the Amityville franchise for the name recognition.
Yeah, I could see that. Just being like, yeah, you know what? How about we say this mirrors from the Amityville house?
Yeah.
And the guy's like, if you let me make the movie, sure.
Because, a lot of them are just, it's about time, like the clock. I mean, you could easily adapt any of these scripts to just include some, references to the Amityville house and all that. So, yeah, good stuff. All right, let's take a look at what we have in theaters this week. One Piece Film Red is coming out, so for all you One Piece fans that are itching for more One Piece, there you go. Everybody loves One Piece, but I haven't even tried to get into it. It looks too childish for me.
Is that the Pirates one? Are
yeah.
they Pirates?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has like 2,000 episodes or something insane. So
that's too many episodes.
It's been going for a really long time. So I think that if you were to get into One Piece now, it'd be a very daunting task.
Yeah, you got to be committed to that.
Yeah, you got to be loving it. I mean, it seems like a cool show. I don't think it's for me. VOD this week on November 1st, we have The Invaders, which is a documentary about a militant Black Power group that was based out of Memphis in the late 1960s. We have Gratitude Inc., or also Gratitude Revealed, which is, I don't know, looks like it could have been maybe one title and now it's another one. We have The Sleep Experiment, The Killing Tree. We got Hex. What is this one? 6 extreme thrill seekers get more excitement than they can handle in this intense, pulse-pounding action horror tale.
Oh, no.
Look out, those thrill seekers. Woo. They're going to be in trouble. It looks bad, but maybe I'll check that out. On November 4th, we have Next Exit. That's with Karen Gillan and Katie Parker. Supernatural road movie.
Oh, okay. All right.
We have I'm Totally Fine. It is a comedy with Jillian Bell and Natalie Morales. This could be good. We have On the Line, Soft and Quiet. Soft and Quiet is one that you won't, if you see Soft and Quiet, you won't forget that movie anytime soon.
I remember you talking about that one.
That one is that one's a disturbing one. That one's a really difficult watch. Not because it's like gruesome or anything like that, but it's just people doing things that just make you uncomfortable. It's a very uncomfortable movie, we'll say.
Okay.
It's pretty good though. I'd give it maybe a light recommend. We have 1-800-HOT-NIGHT. This is a coming of age comedy, maybe dark comedy, dramedy. This actually looks pretty decent. We have The Manhattan Project. This isn't the one you're thinking of, most likely. It's about I think this is like a Canadian film about a guy who gets a terminal cancer diagnosis, and he decides to kill himself by making like a gallon of his favorite drink, which is a Manhattan, and taking a lawn chair out to the middle of a frozen lake and continue drinking until he's dead.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
And like the whole town, like I guess everybody figures out what he's planning on doing, and I guess the whole town tries to stop him or something.
Yeah.
We got Sleep, Walk, Kill.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, two of those things are okay, but the third one,
No.
you want to avoid.
You don't do the third one.
No.
First two, definitely.
The first two are essential.
Yes. This stars, and I'm just pointing this out because of the name, Ellen Boskov.
Ellen Boskov.
I wonder if she is...
She's an heiress to
heiress
to the Boskov's fortune. We have also on the 4th we have Girl at the Window. This is what's this about? I think this is a horror movie. Amy and her mother move to a new home. Amy sees weird activity. Her neighbor comes and goes at strange hours, and she hears screams. Is her new neighbor and her mother's new love interest the serial killer that's killing her classmates? Sounds like a Disturbia / Rear Window situation. Intermate comes out. Intermate. The Minute You Wake Up Dead. This is a crime thriller with Morgan Freeman. Satan's Slaves Communion comes out on the 4th also. That's going to be on Shudder. Now, the first Satan's Slaves was quite good. It's very creepy, so I'll be checking that one out. Causeway is coming to Apple TV+. That's with Jennifer Lawrence. We got Enola Holmes 2. It's going to be on Netflix. Missing. This is a Korean crime thriller that looks pretty good. My Policeman. That's going to be on Amazon Prime. And that's about it for VOD. Pretty big. We're entering the big release times right now. So there's a lot of stuff that's coming out. Blu-ray this week on Tuesday, November 1st. We have National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation from 1989. This is a 4K edition. Looks like The Running Man from 1987 is getting a new 4K release. A whole bunch of Christmas stuff is coming out naturally, like A Christmas Story, Elf, a pack of classic Christmas specials. Like they do this shit every year. Every year they just re-release the same stuff, which is, it's fine. Whatever. Starship Troopers is coming out in 4K. It's got a really cool looking cover. This is the 25th anniversary edition.
Okay.
Top Gun Maverick is coming out.
Oh boy, goddamn Top Gun Maverick.
I really liked Maverick. It's a stupid fun movie.
I don't know what it is, because I didn't mind the first Top Gun. I have no interest in seeing the second Top Gun, but it's just, I don't know. It's one of those things that's just been irritating me all year. People talking about Top Gun Maverick. I don't know why. I don't know why it irritates me, but it does.
I don't know. I didn't really care about it one way or the other, but I went to go see it just because I was kind of anxious to get back into the theater, and I really liked it. I had a good time with it. All right. There's an Evil Dead double pack coming out. I feel like Evil Dead movies are like two of the most released home media properties ever. They just keep pumping them out over and over again. There's like a million different versions. Let's see. We have At Close Range from 1986 with Sean Penn and Christopher Walken. This is part of the MVD Rewind collection. That's pretty much it for all the big stuff. What about Criterion's?
We got two Criterions. We have 1966 Czech New Wave classic Daisies.
Oh,
Daisies coming out. And then you also got In the Mood for Love from 2000.
There's something about Daisies that, I don't know. It's such a fun movie. It's so lighthearted and just enjoyable.
It's such a great idea.
Yeah. I like that movie a lot. Cool. All right. Well, that should do it for this week. Thank you so much for listening. You can send us your questions and topics to podcast@filmpulse.net. You can follow us on Twitter @FilmPulseNet and @FilmPulseKevin. And if you have a minute, consider reviewing us on iTunes. That'd be great. For Kevin Rakestraw, my name's Adam Patterson. We'll see you next week.